President, IPRI, Lieutenant General Retired Majid Ehsan, members of Board of Governors of IPRI, members of the diplomatic community, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum and very good morning. It is indeed a great pleasure to be present at the 6th Margalla Dialogue. I would like to commend the Islamabad Policy Research Institute, known as IPRI, for organizing this timely event, which is being attended by some of the best experts in the arena of international relations. I can see Mr. Inaugural, the Chairman Board of Governors. I can see Jalil Abbas Jilani Sahab, so many former NSA. So I think this is the very timely event, and I must compliment. The theme of this dialogue, the future of global order, cooperation or confrontation, is extremely relevant in the backdrop of the erosion of multilateral values, the increase in unilateral and bloc politics, and trade wars, as well as new and emerging challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, in my recent statements on multilateral forums, including UN Security Council, I have repeatedly warned that humanity is facing unprecedented challenges that threaten to disrupt global peace, security, and development. This is no exaggeration. I honestly believe that this is the position we are facing as of now. The very notion of multilateralism and international cooperation, especially that represented by the United Nations, is being questioned by many skeptical voices and current global conflicts. Multilateral institutions are weakening, and I mean it, they are weakening. People or countries who accept their resolutions and implement, fine. Those who don't, still, there is hardly any mechanism where meaningful action can be taken against them. The UN Security Council remains deadlocked by political divisions. There is a strong perception, backed by the examples of Palestine and Jammu and Kashmir, that the Security Council is failing to fulfill its primary responsibility to maintain international peace and security. Global and even domestic economic inequalities are deepening, owing to the inherent deficiencies in the global financial architecture. Ladies and gentlemen, debt distress has overtaken more than 100 countries, negatively impacting the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, which the UN has been eyeing for years now. Developing countries like Pakistan continue to face the brunt of climate change and crisis, despite contributing negligible in the emissions, but we remain one of the top 10 most vulnerable countries on the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, in this backdrop, cooperation, not confrontation, should be the hallmark of our international approach. That is why Pakistan remains a firm believer in the enduring relevance and importance of multilateralism. As the world's most representative multilateral institution, the United Nations uniquely placed to address global challenges. We support the need for the universal and consistent adherence to the fundamental principles of the UN Charter, including the self-determination of people, non-use or threat of use, and the pacific settlement of disputes. After years, the unanimous adoption of Resolution 2788 during Pakistan's presidency of the UN Security Council, which I chaired in July earlier this year, demonstrates Pakistan's commitment to multilateralism and the peaceful settlement of disputes, respect for the UN Charter, and effective implementation of Security Council resolutions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we must strengthen multilateral institutions, especially the UN, while adapting them to address contemporary and future challenges. During Pakistan's presidency, we also held a debate as to strengthening of the bond between UN and OIC, which is the second largest multilateral fora on the globe. It is hard to imagine a world without such institutions. In the same spirit, Pakistan remains supportive of other initiatives aimed at increasing multilateral cooperation, including the Global Governance Initiative of President Xi of China, to which Pakistan is a signatory, which seeks to make the global governance system more responsive to the needs of developing countries and to address the common challenges. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to strengthen multilateralism, all states, small or large, must accept and respect the principles of UN Charter and international law. To break the vicious cycle of poverty and rising global inequality, we must confront head-on the imbalances in international economic relations. Neither the SDGs nor climate goals can be achieved without international cooperation and strict implementation mechanism. Concrete actions are needed to help developing countries trapped in liquidity crisis and debt distress by ensuring adequate concessional finance, rechanneling unused SDRs, securing a sustained increase in the lending capacity of multilateral development banks, and funding the International Development Association, IDA. The international financial architecture must be reformed to promote development and global financial equity. Likewise, United Nations, including Security Council, require urgent reforms for which Pakistan is fully supportive and actively participating. Ladies and gentlemen, the world trading system must also be redesigned to promote sustainable development. Access to advanced technologies, especially digital technologies, must be equitable, accessible, and non-discriminatory. We also need enhanced global climate action and international cooperation to mitigate the negative impacts of climate change based on the established principle of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the world gathers in Brazil for COP30, the developed countries must meet their climate finance commitments with a balanced focus on adaptation, mitigation, and loss and damage. I'm happy to note that the 6th Margalla Dialogue will focus on many of these issues, including the need for greater regional connectivity. Located at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, Pakistan is endowed with rich mineral and natural resources and human resources and enormous economic potential. I could see a slide there, a board which is indicating Pakistan has copper, lithium, and other rare earth materials. I think this is very meaningful. We are determined to enhance regional connectivity and increase bilateral and multilateral development partners for socio-economic uplift. We remain determined to capitalize on these inherent advantages for the prosperity and betterment of our people and our region by prioritizing geoeconomics as one of the cardinal pillars of our engagement with international partners. We remain open to engaging with all partners and institutions to achieve the desired goals. I hope that the discussions at this forum will also help us explore new pathways for cooperation towards a more peaceful, stable, and prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude by wishing you all a very engaging and productive time during the course of this dialogue. Have a very good day, and thank you. Pakistan Zindabad.